Very good morning. Today I am going to explain the last content of this chapter, that is called as Lee-Chateliot's principle. This is one of the most important thing in the production of products in industrial areas. So this is mainly applicable for reversible reaction, that too in the equilibrium state. Okay, this is mostly applicable in the reversible reaction, and also it is mostly used for industrial purposes, right? Suppose let us take an example like A plus B, it is in equilibrium with C plus D, so that the rate of forward reaction will be equal to the rate of backward reaction at the equilibrium state. So any substance, suppose you assume a ring, okay, big ring where you are placing a ball at the center. You place this ball towards this area, you place at this place and you leave it. What happens? It returns to the back. Or if you take this side, you place it here, if you leave it, what happens? It comes to the back. Means this place is the equilibrium place for these two things, and which is stable in state. So for any system which is in equilibrium, if you disturb the equilibrium state, what happens? It tries to retain its equilibrium state back again. So that is what he is telling. Equilibrium state is the most stable state for the reversible reaction, so that it tries to retain the equilibrium state. So there are many factors by which we can disturb the equilibrium state. Among them, if we change the concentration or pressure or temperature, or by adding some inert material like helium, neon, argon, these are the inert materials like gold, platinum. If you add them, the equilibrium is disturbed. So as to undo the equilibrium disturbance, so it moves in the direction where the equilibrium is balanced. Right, students? So equilibrium will try to undo or nullify the change whatever you are doing in concentration, pressure or temperature or inert material. So equilibrium will shift in such a direction so as to undo the change whatever you are doing in the system. So let us deal one by one with respect to the changes that can be done in the equilibrium. So the first condition is change in concentration. Means you are changing the concentration. See, if I take an example like N2 plus 3H2, it is in equilibrium with 2NH3. Now what I am doing, if I am increasing the concentration of N2, so it is in equilibrium. Now I am from outside, I am adding extra N2. So that what happens, the equilibrium whatever that is present, it is shifted. So it is getting disturbed. So as to undo, means so as to you are adding extra, right? So as to balance, what happens, some amount of N2 will be converted to the NH3, so that it will get again balanced. See, you are basically this reaction is in equilibrium. From outside you are adding N2, means what is happening, N2 is more in quantity. So as to maintain equilibrium, what it is doing, some amount of N2 is getting converted into the product. Means the equilibrium is shifting towards the forward direction if you increase the concentration of the reactants. So if you increase the concentration of the reactants, the equilibrium will be shifted into the forward direction, right? In the same way we can talk H2 is also reactant, right? H2 is also reactant. If you increase the concentration of H2, again what happens? Basically the equilibrium whatever that is present, it will be disturbed, and that if you increase, it moves in the forward direction. If you decrease, that moves in the backward direction. So by disturbing the equilibrium of H2, if you decrease that, it moves in the backward direction. Suppose if you go for the decrease in NH3, so the equilibrium is getting disturbed, so it moves in the direction where NH3 should be increased again. So the equilibrium will be shifting in the forward direction. So on whole conclusion for the concentration I am mentioning here, simple. Concentration, it is divided into two factors. One is with respect to reactants, one is with respect to products. If you increase the concentration of the reactants, what happens? The reaction moves in the forward direction. If you decrease, it moves in the backward direction. If the reaction is moving in the forward direction, the number of products will be increased. If you decrease the number of concentration of the reactants, it moves in the backward direction. In the same way, if you increase the concentration of the products, it moves in the backward direction. If you decrease the concentration of the products, the reaction moves in the forward direction, so that the more amount of products will be produced when you decrease the concentration of the products. Right, students? This is the on whole conclusion. For everything we have conclusion at the last. With respect to concentration, that is the conclusion. If you go for the change in pressure, and the rule is if pressure is increased, the equilibrium will shift to that direction which has lesser number of moles. So if you increase the pressure, the equilibrium should shift to that direction in which the lesser number of moles are present. Suppose if you take this reaction N2O4, it is in equilibrium with 2NO2. Number of moles this side are 1 and number of moles this side are product side are 2. Okay, if I increase the pressure, so the equilibrium is disturbed, so the equilibrium should shift towards the lesser number of moles, right? So among these two, which is having less number of moles, you are having this side. So the reaction will move in the backward direction in this reaction. This is not same for all. Only this rule is same. So in this reaction, as you are having lesser number of reactants, if you increase the pressure, it moves in the backward direction. Suppose if you decrease the pressure, means the reaction should move in the direction where there are more number of moles. So more number of moles are present on the forward direction. So it should be moved in the forward direction if the pressure is decreased. Why this is happening? See, what is the reason for this? If pressure is increased, volume will decrease. According to Boyle's law, we know that. Then what happens? Concentration increases. So if pressure is increased, number of particles per unit volume will be more. So as to now we have what made? We have increased the concentration. We have increased the concentration means how the equilibrium will shift? It shifts in that direction where the concentration should be very less. When it will be very less? If the number of particles are distributed in the more amount of area. Means per unit volume you should be getting less number of moles. Here you are increasing the concentration. It moves in the direction where the concentration should be very less. Okay. Here per unit volume there are more. If that increases, if pressure is increased, volume is decreased, so that it moves in the direction where the volume is more, so the number of moles per unit volume decreases. That's why if you increase the pressure, it moves in the direction where the number of moles per unit area are less. So pressure increase, it moves in the direction where the number of moles are very less. Okay, if pressure is decreased, it moves in the direction where the number of moles are very high. Let us take the one more example and solve this with respect to the pressure, so that we will be getting into the conclusion. So let us take the example like PCl5, it is in equilibrium with PCl3 as well as Cl2. So if I increase the pressure, means it should move in the direction where the number of moles are very less. So here 1 mole, here 1 mole, 2 moles are there, here reactance is 1 mole. So if I increase the pressure, so it moves in the backward direction, means more PCl5 is getting produced. So pressure is increased, it is moving in the direction backward. If pressure is decreased, it moves in the forward direction, more number of moles are there. This is 2 moles, right? And try to solve for this one. N2 plus O2 gives rise to 2NO. Okay, here 2 moles are there, here 2 moles are there. So less number of moles, more number of moles are not there. So if you increase pressure or decrease pressure, there is no effect on the equilibrium. So this is exception. If you increase the pressure, it moves towards the less number of moles. If you decrease the pressure, it moves towards the more number of moles. If the number of moles are equal, it will not move to the any side. It has no effect of pressure. So that is why when there is delta Ng is equal to 0, it is taken as exception. There is no effect of pressure on that. Example is H2 plus I2 gives rise to 2Hi. Here you are having 2 moles. Here you are having 2 moles. With respect to pressure, if you increase delta N is here 2, here 2. So delta N is 0. Okay, there is no effect of pressure. So on conclusion, pressure apart from delta N, if delta N is not equal to 0, then increase in the pressure shifts towards the lesser number of moles side. Decrease in the pressure shifts to the equilibrium towards the more number of moles side. This is the conclusion when delta N is not equal to 0. If delta N is equal to 0, then there is no effect of pressure itself. So these are the two conditions, and let us go for the third condition, that is called as temperature. So the rule is generally on increasing temperature, equilibrium shifts to that direction which proceeds with absorption of heat. Okay, absorption of heat means it takes energy and it moves in the direction. Okay, it moves in the direction which is favorable for the moving, or in that respective direction. Suppose if I say A plus B, by absorbing, this is delta is indicated nothing but it is the absorption of energy, so that it is forming C plus D. If you provide temperature, what happens? This direction, in this direction it is moving by absorbing energy, right? So it is moving in the forward direction. So if you provide energy or if you increase the temperature, the absorption of energy is taking here, so that the reaction moves in the forward direction. So if you increase the temperature, the equilibrium shift is in the forward direction for this reaction, because this is the absorbing energy. If this A plus B, if they absorb energy, what is happening? They are moving in this direction. So A plus B absorbs energy and they will move in the forward direction. So if you increase the temperature, energy is provided. They absorb the energy and they will form the product. So increase in temperature, it favors in the direction where the energy is absorbed. Right, students? In the same way, controversy, decrease in the temperature, the equilibrium shifts in the backward direction where the liberation of energy, that is exothermic. So exothermic is favored. Controversy reverse. So let me take one more example. H2 plus I2 gives rise to, it is in equilibrium with 2Hi, where 3000 calorie of energy is liberated. Okay, it is not absorbing. In this extra 3000 is present, you are liberating this one, right? So what happens if we increase the temperature? This is liberated, means if you take this energy here and provide for this one, what happens? It absorbs that energy and it forms for this one. So if we increase the temperature for this one, what happens? The equilibrium shifts in the backward direction. Okay. If you increase the temperature, this reaction is not absorbing energy, this reaction is liberating energy. This, as the reaction is liberating this, and plus it is forming product, along with the product 3000 calories is liberated by outside energy. Along with the formation of 2Ha, 3000 calories of energy is liberated, right? So it is removing excess of energy to the outside. So what happens here? Means H2 plus I2, it absorbs 3000 energy and it is forming this one. So if you increase the temperature, what happens? This is exothermic reaction. So it moves in the backward direction, since in the above reaction energy is liberated. So it is liberating energy. If it is absorbs energy, forward direction. If it is liberating energy, if you increase the temperature, it is backward direction. If you decrease the temperature, what happens? It moves in the forward direction. Okay. So let me take here N2 plus 3H2. It is in equilibrium with 2NH3 minus 22.4. What it is indicating? It is absorbing energy. Okay. So if you increase the temperature, what happens? It moves in the forward direction. It is requiring energy, right? This one is required. This is plus is liberated. This minus is absorbed. So if you increase the temperature, what happens? This one will absorb the temperature and it will move in the forward direction. Simply you remember, students, if there is nothing here, there is no delta H, don't go for delta H. Delta H is different. If there is just energy plus 3000, means it is liberating. Liberating means if you increase the temperature, it moves in the backward direction. If it is minus, you remember among these two only one thing. If it is plus 3000 means it is liberating. Liberating means if you increase the temperature, it moves in the backward direction. This is exothermic reaction. If it is minus, it is endothermic reaction. If you increase the temperature, what happens? It moves in the forward direction. See, if you increase the temperature, there is change in the heat addition. Okay, if you are increasing means there is addition of energy. Okay, so that what happens? Equilibrium will be disturbed. So that equilibrium will shift in such a direction so as to undo the change. Whatever you are adding, it moves in the where the energy is liberated, right? That energy you are adding extra, right? It moves in that direction where the energy is removed so as to counterbalance. And you remember this one, whatever that here is there. If plus is there, this is exo. If minus is there, it is endo. If delta H is given here, delta H is equal to plus 3000, then it is endo. Basically, if there is no delta H, this is exo. If delta H is mentioned, delta H is equal to plus 3000 they have mentioned, then that is exo. Okay, delta H plus 3000 is there, means it is endothermic reaction. If there is no delta H, this is exothermic reaction. So if I say that delta H is equal to negative, means it is exothermic reaction, heat is liberated. Regarding this, you will learn in thermodynamics. Delta H is negative means it is exothermic reaction, heat is liberated. If delta H is positive means it is endothermic reaction, heat is absorbed. See here, I have not mentioned any delta H. If I am not mentioning any delta H here, if you are having positive sign, then that is exothermic reaction. Okay, this is only heat liberated. This is exothermic only. Then you should don't get for delta H negative also exothermic only. If I say delta H negative, it is exothermic. If I do not mention anything and if I mention plus energy, then that is also exothermic only. If delta H is not there, positive is exothermic. If delta H is there, negative is exothermic. Okay, and if delta H is positive, means endothermic reaction where heat is absorbed in the reaction. So I am giving a final conclusion for this temperature. If temperature is exothermic, means delta H is negative, heat is released. If delta H endothermic reaction, delta H is positive, heat is absorbed. If exothermic reaction, if temperature is increased, it moves in the backward direction because it is liberating energy, right? If you increase the temperature, it moves in the backward direction. If you decrease the temperature, the reaction moves in the forward direction. Okay? In the same way, endothermic reaction, if you increase the temperature, it moves in the forward direction. If you decrease the temperature, it moves in the backward direction. So, and last content which can affect the equilibrium factor, that is addition of inert material. What is mean by inert? Inert means that substance which does not react with reactant as well as product. See, inert means inactive. Generally, we will be seeing with respect to inert gas as zero group. Inert means inactive It does not react with reactant as well as product. It has two rules. One rule is, if you add inert material at constant volume without changing volume, if you add any inert material, there is no effect on the equilibrium. The equilibrium is not at all affected when you add inert material at constant volume. And rule 2, it says that at constant pressure, if you add inert material, it moves in the direction where there are more number of moles. Generally, in the second condition, if you talk with respect to pressures, if you increase the pressure, it moves towards the less number of moles. But here, if pressure is kept constant and you are adding inert material, it moves in the direction where there are more number of moles. Okay, students, you remember this one? We will be explaining the reason. It moves towards the more number of moles area, either it may be reactants or products. Suppose, let me take an example like this. PCl5, it is in gaseous state. It is in equilibrium with PCl3 as well as Cl2. I am adding inert material at the equilibrium state. At constant volume, I have said that no effect. At constant pressure, I am adding inert material. What happens? It moves towards more number of moles. See here, 1 mole is there, here 2 moles are there. So it moves in the forward direction. Suppose for this N2 plus 3H2, it is in equilibrium with 2NH3. I am adding inert material at the equilibrium state. Constant volume, it has no effect. But at constant pressure, if I add inert material, what happens is to move towards the more number of moles side, which is having more number of moles. So you are having more number of moles on the reactant. So the reaction moves in the backward direction in this condition. So if you add inert material, it moves towards the more number of moles at constant pressure. So in this reaction, it is moving in the backward direction, so that you will be getting more production of N2 plus 3H2. So what is the reason for this? Is volume is not at all affected. And if you go for the pressure, if you add the extra material, what happens? See what happens? It occupies some volume, so that the volume will be increased. Okay, total mixture volume will be increased by adding the inert material, so that the number of particles available in the given volume will be decreased. This will be the condition. So by adding inert material, the number of particles in the unit volume will be decreased. So our counter is, it should move in the area where the concentration, that is number of moles per volume, should be increased, so as to counterbalance. This is the condition what is happening. So as to counterbalance, it should move in this direction. Means more number of moles per given volume. More number of moles means what happens? So it moves in the direction where the volume will be increased, so that it occupies more area, so that there will be more number of moles. More number of moles, don't get confused. The number of moles in the total entire container system is same, but per unit volume there will be different. Okay, per unit volume it is different. The moles are not getting changed. Per unit volume they are getting changed, right? So on whole, Le-Chatelier principle can be concluded. If you are good with this chart also, you can solve the questions. Le-Chatelier principle conclusion with respect to concentration. If you increase the reactants concentration, it moves in the forward direction. If you decrease the concentration of the reactants, it moves in the backward direction. With respect to products, if you increase the concentration of products, it moves in the backward direction. If with respect to products, if you decrease the concentration of the products, it moves in the forward direction. Pressure, if you increase the pressure, it moves in the direction where the less number of moles are there. If you decrease the pressure, it moves in the direction where the more number of moles are there. Temperature, if it is exothermic temperature where delta H will be negative value, if you increase the temperature, it moves in the backward direction. If you decrease the temperature, it moves in the forward direction. If it is an endothermic reaction, delta H is positive. If you increase the temperature, it moves in the forward direction. If you decrease the temperature, it moves in the backward direction. And going for the inert material, at constant volume there is no effect. At constant pressure, it moves in the direction where you are having more number of moles by adding the inert material. So be clear with this chart, so that you can solve all the questions with the respect to Le-Chatelier principle. Let us take some questions and solve those questions by applying all the rules. I will be explaining some 3 questions. Go for the 4th, 5th questions, that is work for you. This is the question. H2 plus I2, it is in equilibrium with 2Hi plus 3000. Means plus 3000 means this is exothermic reaction. Contains conditions to produce more amount of Hi. He is asking to produce more amount of this one, not the reactants, this one. So he wants more amount of products. If you want more amount of products, means the reaction should move in the forward direction. So what condition should be maintained according to Le-Chatelier principle? So I am going for the solution. H2 plus I2 2Hi. With respect to concentration, if I increase the concentration of the reactants, it moves in the forward direction. If I decrease, it moves in the backward direction. With respect to products, if I increase the products, it goes in the backward direction. If I decrease the concentration of the products, it moves in the forward direction. Okay. With respect to pressure, if I increase or decrease, see here 2 moles, 1 mole, 1 mole, 2 moles, here also 2 moles. So if I increase or decrease, there is no effect. If I go with respect to temperature, this is exothermic reaction. Okay, plus he is mentioned, it does not mention any delta H. So this is plus is exothermic. So if I increase the temperature, it moves in the backward direction. If I decrease the temperature, it moves in the forward direction. Okay. Inert material, constant volume, it doesn't have any effect. At constant pressure also, the number of moles on the both sides are equal. So also delta N is equal to 0. So there is no effect of pressure. So we want more amount of products, right? For products means we should move the reaction in the forward direction. So forward direction, this one. Pressure, products concentration should be increased, reactants concentration should be increased, and temperature should be decreased so as to get the more amount of 2HI. Okay, students. Take one more example like this. N2 plus O2 in the gaseous state, it is in equilibrium with 2NO minus 40,000 calories. Favorable condition for the formation of NO. So this is what type of reaction? It doesn't have any delta H. Plus means exo means, minus is endothermic. So reactants concentration increases forward, products concentration decreases forward. These are the conditions. So forward, if I want more amount of NO, so this one should be maintained with respect to concentration. Pressure, here 2 moles, here 2 moles, no effect. Temperature, as this is endothermic reaction, if I increase the temperature, it moves in the forward direction. So if I decrease, it moves in the backward direction. So backward direction I am not considering into the consideration because I want more amount of NO. With respect to volume and product, with respect to inert material, moles are same and volume has no effect. So automatically it doesn't have any effect. Right, students? And the last example for this. N2 plus 3H2 gives rise to 2NH3. Delta H is equal to minus 22.4 kilojoules per mole. Favorable condition for the formation of NH3 according to the Le-Chatelier principle. Okay. Reactant concentration increases forward direction. Products concentration decreases forward direction. Increase in pressure, it moves the forward direction because lesser number of moles are present on the forward direction. So if there is effect of pressure this side, here also there will be pressure adding inert material. Okay, decreasing backward direction. Temperature, as this is exothermic. Delta H is negative means exothermic. If exothermic reaction, if you increase the temperature, it moves in the backward direction. If you decrease the temperature, it moves in the forward direction. So delta V, at constant volume, no effect by adding inert material. At constant pressure, it moves in the backward direction. So no inert material should be added because it is moving in the backward direction. You require the formation of NH3, not the formation of N2 as well as 3H2. Okay, you require the formation of NH3, not this one. So if you add inert material at constant pressure, what happens? It moves in the backward direction. So you should not add any inert material. So for forward reaction, reactants concentration should be increased, products concentration should be decreased, and the pressure concentration should be increased and temperature should be decreased. Basically, these are the conditions according to the Le-Chatelier. But what we will be saying, the temperature should be moderate due to low production of NH3 at low temperature. At low temperature, lesser amount of NH3 is produced, so that we will be maintaining moderate temperature. There are many other factors like delta G. We will be learning in the thermodynamics. So that here low temperature, according to Le-Chatelier, is correct. But these conditions will not be maintained in the industry so as to produce the ammonia. Okay, students? And these two are the examples you will be having for today's work. You solve this taking all the conditions: concentration, pressure, concentration, pressure, temperature, and inert material. What are the favorable conditions for the formation of the products? One condition. And what are the favorable conditions for the formation of the reactants? You solve the both. One condition for the products, one condition for the formation of the reactants. So if you are able to do that, automatically you are good at doing these conditions. And this is the entire thing with respect to Le-Chatelier. By this, half of the chapter in equilibrium, that is chemical equilibrium, is completed. From Monday we will be continuing with ionic equilibrium. Thank you, students. All the best for your examinations. Once again, you recall all the contents whatever that are present in your material and what I have said. Thank you. Have a nice day. All the best.